Time now for CURES, and wish you could be here for the commercial breaks. Those interesting questions from you. But anyway, we're talking about the midlife weight gain, all right? So for women, really, perimenopause, menopause, can happen, perimenopause starts 10 years before menopause. So 35 and up, things start shifting.
Yeah,
what you
absolutely.
can eat, what you need to do. There's so much information out there. So Joe Carabase is here because he has specific plans for people in their midlife, like stuff that really works to make sure you're busting the belly fat.
Yeah, because I get a little belly fat too, and I've noticed that it's much more difficult now at my age to get rid of it than it used to be.
100%, and women have it way harder, and that's the thing. It's like, I am not a woman who's gone through menopause, but I have worked with hundreds, if not thousands, of women who has. And there's generally a rule of thumb when it comes to menopause, which is whatever's worked up to this point will not work to the same extent that it once did. So for some women, they might have been able to skate by with working out really hard, doing intense workouts. But that's not going to work the same way. Other women, they maybe never really had the workout, just walk, and they're able to manage their weight, eat, pretty good. But then they have to now change. So the plan has got to change. But I think the inspiring and empowering thing is you're not stuck. And I think a lot of people take menopause as a death wish, and I'm not to minimize it, because I hear these
There's
horror
all kinds of things that go through, but the part of it is we're even talking about it. No one used to talk about menopause or perimenopause. I mean, I actually mentioned this in the newsroom, and someone was like, "Oh, the younger people, what's perimenopause?" I'm like, "Oh, that's interesting. You'll find out about it. It's 10 years before menopause, but your hormones start shifting, and so it does affect. You might notice you're gaining more in the middle. If foods are affecting you more differently. You have more stress in your life, so the cortisol is going up. So there's all this information, but what have you found? Let's start with diet. What really matters for women in midlife to kind of lose that weight?
Well, I want to take a back step, because diet and exercise obviously very important, but really the thesis is metabolic rate, right? You got to think about increasing your metabolism through your controllables, because yes, menopause naturally is going to drop your metabolism, so you'll store calories easier, but also it coincides with something called sarcopenia. Sarcopenia is a natural degeneration of muscle tissue over time. Happens a lot faster for women than it does for men, still happens for men, but when you lose muscle at an accelerated rate, body fat increases. What you put in your mouth has more of a chance to store, right? So not fair, but it is what it is. So when we think about diet, we think about ways to increase the metabolism. So we work with a lot of women. We do have intermittent fasting programs that are different from a lot of intermittent fasting that people might have seen before. Like, we do mostly food fasting. In other words, you can have shakes on our plan. We also do fruit fasts. We also do bone broth fasts. I'm on a fruit fast today because
it's Monday. So yeah, we might be a day for the morning and the afternoon. I'm having just berries, and then I'm going to have a meal tonight or something. But that helps to reset and control your glucose. All those kinds of things that you want us to do. That we used to just be. It's not just calories in, calories out anymore.
No, it's also Alzheimer's and some other things. But it's such a deeper conversation, because a lot of women too lose appetite during the day when it comes to menopause, and so they won't eat a lot during the day, but they'll eat a lot more at night.
Interesting.
So cumulative total calories are actually lower than what they think. They have a perception of a big meal at night, so they think a lot of calories, but it's generally not that. So when you're eating fewer calories, which you're either doing intentionally because you're not hungry, or because you are trying to lose weight, which there's also the common thought of, well, deficit. Don't eat a lot, 600 calories, 1,200 calories, as low as possible to lose weight. And the problem with that slows your metabolism down more. So if you are someone who is premenopause, going through menopause, you got to be very careful if you do just a deficit weight loss plan, because just cutting your calories significantly can actually make the already slow metabolism slower. So we want to increase the metabolism. That's the key.
So prioritize protein? I'm sorry.
No, every plan I've been on, they're like, eat the food.
Right.
You got to eat the food that's given to you.
Yeah, and basically,
don't cut out.
Muscle is costly, right? To keep muscle, you have to fuel it with protein. Is very, very important. We talked about sarcopenia. Well, one of the ways to prevent sarcopenia from happening is through, well, it's two ways. One, increasing your protein intake, which is going to depend on the individual, but a good rule of thumb is anywhere from 0.8 to 1.2 grams per pound of ideal body weight per day.
So if you want to be 135 pounds, you want, it's hard to get 135 grams of protein, but there's ways, and I want to let you know we're going to get into this more on the CURES podcast. We'll have more time. But I want to show, because we have some video of red light therapy, which is a newer thing, and people are like, what's that? Wow, why would that work? I had the opportunity to try it and interview some folks at your place. The red light really helps do a lot of things, right?
Well, first of all, it shortcuts the process. So, I mean, we literally had someone this morning, she lost 5 inches in just her 10-minute treatment. So this is inches that is not going to come back, and it's holistic. And so there's really no downsides to it. It's good for your muscles, it's good for your skin, it's good for pain management. And when you are dealing with a slower metabolism, you can circumvent that with things like red light, which shortcuts the process.
Look at this.
It's very relaxing. And I know they use this in a lot of the naturopathic offices too, so it's something that's good for many things, including chronic pain. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. There's some transformation pictures you've had of people who've really lost. So prioritizing protein, red light, in 20 seconds, is there a certain kind of exercise? We've got to just make sure we move every day?
Yeah, well, you want to basically keep your heart rate elevated as you're doing exercises that are building muscle. So you want to use weights that are challenging. You don't need to go super heavy, but you want to keep your rest short. Use weights that are challenging. It doesn't have to be long. Start with 5 minutes if you're not doing it all. Under 30 minutes is perfect.
Don't spend an hour on the treadmill. Start doing that resistance training. Okay. We'll talk more on the CURES podcast coming up. Thanks
we got a lot more to discuss.
All right, if you're looking to transform your body or even lose that extra little bit before summer, check out definewellnesscenter.com. Thanks, Joe. Always a pleasure to have you.
My pleasure.
And you know what's starting right now, Kara?
Eyewitness News at 4. Happy Monday.
Stay with us.